Hello and Happy New Year! I'm Jessica from A Cherry on Top, and today's video is for our January YouTube Hop. This month, our theme is to craft with something that inspires you, or about something that inspires you. And for me, a big part of crafting is the materials that I work with, all of the really amazing crafty products. And a lot of times I'll just see some products that I want to use and create a project around that. So let's get started and see what I made today that I felt inspired by. I know that it's now January, but I still have some Christmas photos from parties that I haven't scrapbooked yet. So this is from a cookie baking party, and I found this cute gingerbread stencil, and I thought it would be perfect because one of the cookies that we had the most fun with were decorating gingerbread men. And you'll see a close-up of these gingerbread and how I use them later in the video. I am using this stencil with some texture paste. This is transparent matte, and I wanted it so you wouldn't really see it until I started inking it. And because this is a background, I didn't want it to stand out a lot, but I wanted you to be able to see some of those gingerbread men, and they kind of come through as I'm doing this inking. But it's still very subtle, and it will allow me to add other layers, and this stays in the back. This brown that I'm using is frayed burlap. I grabbed some other browns just in case, but this is the brown that I thought would work best, and as I got going with it, I thought it was the perfect color. I also grabbed some Victorian velvet and a small blending brush and filled in some of these little hearts. And again, this is still staying very much in the background, and it won't compete with the other things that I have going on with the layout. Now I'm adding on my photo. I am using some papers from the Deck the Hall collection from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, and I'm giving this a double matte because the photo is the main thing here. I want to make sure that it's really standing out. So I'm just backing them with some cherry tape and layering them up. This is the main photo for this layout, but I did have other photos as well, but they weren't as pretty. I have all of these cookie sheet photos, and I actually cut out all of the little cookies, and I thought they would make adorable embellishments. And it'd be a good way to showcase the cookies without having a bunch more photos and really filling the whole area. My other main embellishment is cut files. These are some cut files that Rachel designed, and you can download them on our site. I'll have the links for these and all of the other products I used in the description, and I cut them all out in white. I usually just do white cut files because I don't have to think about it too much, and I can just get them cut, and then I ink them up in whatever color I'm using for this page. And for this page, I'm using some pinkish and reds as well as some greens. Once I get all of the inked parts all finished, I am going in with a Nouveau fine tip pen, and I'm newer to using this pen, but it works pretty well for these really delicate parts. Next, I wanted a little bit of a splattery, more mixed media look, so I added a spritz of water, let it sit for about 5 seconds, and then dabbed up the extra water with a towel. And it just gives a little bit of texture and splattery look that I really love. I started playing around with this a bit with all of the cut files that I cut out, but I think it might be too much, but you'll see how I ended up arranging in the end. Next, I had a crazy idea. I've been kind of thinking this layout needed a little something extra. I would love to throw in a shaker, but none of the cut files worked well with it. And then I had the idea to make a frame as a shaker. So a whole 12 by 12 frame for the layout as a shaker. You can get 12 by 12 acetate, and I'm making this 1 inch thick. So I cut along the 11-inch mark all the way around, and then I cut apart the 1/4 inch tape because I wanted it more like an 1/8 inch foam tape. And when you're doing this, make sure you have scissors that will allow you to cut foam. I have ruined scissors before cutting foam with it. These Fisker ones work really well. So once I had a border for my shaker, then I started adding in these sprinkles. We were talking about inspiration. I'm always so inspired by the tiny little designs that are in these clay sequin packs. I think they're so cute. This one has little gingerbread men, which really drew me to it, and I love the look of them. I also grabbed a more traditional colors sequin pack and mixed these in it as well. And after I get all of them in here, I'll grab this pink paper that's behind and I'll cut this down to an 1 inch square all the way around to back this frame. This was a lot of measuring, and I'll even do some more measuring coming up. I found that the best way to start sticking this on was to do it in sections, like taking off the tape in sections. I started at the top, took off the tape, and then started moving around to the sides. So I didn't have to try to get it all in one go. I did it per side, and it actually worked pretty well. And then to stick it on my layout, I used some more cherry tape. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of cherry tape, and then made sure it was nice and stuck down. I didn't like the wiggly foam edges, so I took another piece of white cardstock, and just like how I made my frame, I'm making another frame, but it's thinner. It's just slightly larger than 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going all the way around. This isn't perfect either, but I think it looks good enough when it's on the layout. Like, all of my sides aren't necessarily perfectly even, but like I said, I think it's good enough. I got it on the page, it covered up my wiggly foam lines, and I think it improved it. This I am cutting down to frame out the smaller foam sides as well, and you'll kind of see how this looks once I pull it together here shortly. So this is a bit more measuring, but I think it was definitely worth it for me. I like the finished look this gives. So I'd love to hear if this is something that you would try or what you think about it. And because this video is for a YouTube hop, if you leave a comment, you will be entered to win a $25 A Cherry on Top gift certificate. And make sure to hop around to all of the other videos in the hop and leave comments on those as well. I finished this page with a bit of splatter, and you can see how those cookies look. I think it just turned out so adorable. Thanks for watching.